welcome to Whispering Willows. I'm Tanya, and I'm a psychic medium.
I'm Jamie. I'm a psychotherapist.
And today we're talking about life transitions and change. So just kind of want to help people understand transitioning is normal and natural, and we all have to do it. And we all have to go through it, but it's all about growth. So I think we want to kind of talk about the different life transitions, and then maybe the ones that we've been through in life. So I mean, there's so many transitions. Anytime that there's a huge change in your life, like a divorce, your kids are moving out, you're an empty nester, you're retiring,
even having kids for the first time, becoming a new mom or a new dad.
Exactly. Some of them are planned. So your retirements are planned. You plan for your kids to move out eventually at some point. Maybe the plan doesn't happen exactly how you want it to happen, but at some point it will happen, and it can be an overwhelming feeling. You actually think that, oh my gosh, this is great. Like, they're out of the house, and then you're kind of like, oh, what am I supposed to do with myself? You spend so many years doing the same thing, like people that have been married for 20 years, and then all of a sudden they get divorced. What do I do now?
Their whole routine and their sense of purpose.
Yeah, because you think that my goal in life is I need to get this child raised and out of my house. You know what I'm saying? And then once you do it, it's like, what now?
Yeah.
What is my goal?
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of people have challenges with that, as far as especially if it's something that can be controlled.
If it's unplanned.
Yeah, like a divorce or a breakup, or, even starting a new relationship, or say that you get a health scare, all of a sudden you have diabetes. You have to change your whole life and your whole outlook.
Your diet.
Yeah, what you're going to eat. That's really hard. Especially if you're you've been eating this way your whole life, now all of a sudden you have to change everything, and it's hard to go through that. I know my mom is going through that. So it's just she told me last time I was on the phone, she goes, I just don't know what I'm supposed. She goes, it's so hard. It's she goes, I'm trying to figure out how to regulate, and I'm just like, this is very complicated.
Yeah.
And you don't think of it as complicated as it is, because she has to check her blood and see where it is. And she goes, I'll be sleeping all night. I'm not even eating anything. And it's, not where it's supposed to be when I wake up.
Gotcha.
And I'm just like, that could be stressful, you know, you have to navigate that, and you have to learn that, but it's going to help you,
For
you
sure.
know, in the long run.
Even sometimes people have to move, towns or cities or states or countries even, you know, and even if it's it's a positive thing, oh, my partner got a great job, in a different state, and so we're moving, it's a good reason to go, and you might be excited about it, but it still might be really hard, and it's still an adjustment and a transition in your life. You're kind of starting over from scratch in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I think that with us, we moved here by choice. It wasn't we had to move here. I enjoy change. So to me, everyone is like, Tanya, you're the queen of starting over. And I am. I've literally started over from scratch so many times, but it's almost I don't know if it's a challenge for me, and I'm oh, let me just move to this new city and see if I can just start from scratch and see what happens and what develops. I started from scratch as far as having friends and, a new job. When I moved here, I had a new job. It wasn't the same job, and all of these things were happening at the same time. It was am I just trying to push myself over the limits, But at the same time, I grew so much as a person. And I feel every little change that happens in your life, you look back and you're I'm not that same person because that event changed me.
Yeah.
I'm not who I was 5 years ago. So, I mean, I think change is good. Some change, I mean, it's hard though.
It is hard.
Yeah. So.
And a lot of people are very scared of it. And I personally, I wouldn't say I love change or, I look forward to it, but I'm much more afraid of staying stuck in a place that I'm unhappy, right? Whether that's a job or a relationship or a city or, I do not want to waste my life. It's not really a waste, but it feels, to me, it feels like a waste of life, being miserable, going to this 9 to 5 every day that I hate and I'm miserable at. I'm scared of that kind of life, and so I'm always going to be okay, what's next? What are we going to do?
I know, that's how I feel too. I feel like I've always got my hand in some cookie jar. Like I'm feeling around, like maybe I'm gonna do this next. Like maybe I'm already like trying to figure out where I'm gonna move to next. I'm like, oh, my lease is up next month. And it's so funny because people are like, oh, are you gonna buy or are you gonna rent? And I'm just kind of like, you know what? I've owned 4 homes. Like even when you buy a new house, like you're starting over in a new house, you know, every time. I've owned 4 homes, and to be single and own a home is a lot of work.
It is.
And it takes time, like, out of my, like, fun time where I want to be doing stuff I want to do. Like, to live here, like, to clean up and stuff, it doesn't take near the time. And I call the maintenance man. He shows up, and I'm just like, this is fantastic.
Yeah. I was just thinking yesterday, like, I have to, like, weed my garden and trim my bushes, like, before the winter. And, like...
Yes. Girl, it's a lot. But I'll just be over here, like, reading my book.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I'll be digging in the dirt, being like...
I'm just kind of like, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I want to buy a house again. But then I feel like I've been living like a gypsy the last few years. Like, I'm just traveling around. I'm like, oh, let me try this city. Let me try that city. And let me find my fit, because I know at some point I'm going to want to just be somewhere and stay, you know. But right now I'm having fun traveling and doing what I want to do, and I can leave whenever I want, and I'm not tied down to anything. And it's a really good feeling. But it took me a very long time to transition to that emotion. Like, because you think the American dream is, I have to own a home. I have to have children. I have to be married. And that's just not true.
I have to be at a job for, like,
forever.
20 years until I retire. 30
no
years,
matter
whatever. Yeah, I think that's, like the older generations, you know, they, like, stayed at the same job for decades and decades. And we're like, you know what? My boss is pissing me off. I'm going to check Indeed and, like, see what other jobs are out there for me, you know?
Yeah. It's just like, you know, there's so many options, and everyone gets stuck. And that's why they don't like change, because they think that it's not normal and it's not supposed to happen. But it is. Yeah. And it's supposed to happen for good reason, to change you and help you grow and learn. Like, these are all lessons. I always talk about, like, we're here to learn, and we're here to learn our lessons. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want any more lessons. But, I mean, this is what we're here for. Yeah. We're supposed to be our best self. And I think all of these little changes and transitions help us grow into who we are. And especially, like, when something is out of our control and we just kind of have to go with it. Like, you just have to go with, like, you have to pick. It's almost like picking your battles. Like, is this something I can control? I know that one time I got, like, I was getting divorced, and I was super anxious. And I had to get on medication because I was having panic attacks, and I had to, like, I was working in Atlanta. I was driving home one day, and I couldn't drive anymore. I was like, I couldn't breathe. I had to call my dad. I was like, I need you to come get me. And like, I was like having panic attacks. I had to pull over on the side of the road. They put me on medication. I was just stressed because my whole world was falling apart, but it was really falling into place, honestly. So it was just, like, really scary for me. And, you know, I got past that, and I'm better, and I'm not the same person that I was. And I feel like every time something happens now, I'm just like, okay, like, I can handle this. And my dad told me something that really kind of, like, you know, made me, like, rethink my brain, because in my head, like, everything was falling apart, and I had a little girl, and I had to take care of her, and she was my priority. And my dad was always like, you need to think of it this way: as long as she is fed and taken care of, and nobody is taking her away from you, you are in good shape. And so that got me through so much. Now she's not here. And now it's like, Parker has to be, you know? It's just like, you know, you made it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, she grew up. She moved out of the house. Like, I did it. I made it. You know? And it's like, this goal has been reached. Now what? These transitions are, like, really hard.
They are.
Like, when she moved out, I was like, what am I supposed to do? Because at that time, I got divorced. And I went from a house of 6 people, 2 dogs, and a hedgehog to me. And it was just like, what am I supposed to do with myself? It was extremely overwhelming. And then to know that I could just move. I mean, I had a job that was not remote at the time, but I was like, I can just find a new job. I can just move wherever I want to live now, you know? So it was the beach.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So, you know, and now who I am when I moved here, that's not who I am now because I've gone through relationships and I've gone through, you know, other things. I've got new friends. I've got, you know, when you see other people going through hard things and you're like, oh, they can do it. Like, I can do it. And I remember going through this divorce and no one at work knew before I moved here. And one day I told them after we hadn't filed, but we decided to sell the house. And so I was like, I'm selling my house. And they're like, why? And I was like, I'm getting divorced. And they were just like, what? Literally have been going on for like 4 months. Like, no one knew.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to work to cry. I was going to work to get out of my head as to what was happening to me at home. So work was my safe place. So I think that a lot of people have to like delve into other things to get out of their head.
Yeah.
Because I think it creates this like, it's like this thing that just keeps going on. Like you've got the way you're feeling and then you're confused and then you're not motivated. And I feel like I said, I've gone through a process of new beginnings so many times that I knew what I needed to do in order to get to the next level for me. So everyone was just in shock, you know? I mean...
And I think, like, what you said about, like, finding your safe place, I think that's super important. Like, whether your safe place is your family, whether it's your job, whether it's your home or your pets or like whatever that safe place looks like, if it's like your gym routine that you go to the gym religiously every morning, like whatever is like kind of that safe place or like that routine that like helps you feel kind of like grounded and like that one like constant in your life when everything else is changing. Like this is the thing that's not changing.
Exactly.
And kind of like grasp onto that.
And that is like who I am. And like, you know, we've talked about like our astrology and stuff like that, and it has a lot to do with that because my moon, your moon is about your emotions. My emotions are in Capricorn. Capricorns are workaholics. So that's my safe space. It's like if I have anything, I have work and I know what I need to do there and what needs to be done. Like they're not going to break my heart, you know? And so it was just like I dove into that, and like when everyone found out, everyone was just in shock. They're like, how long has this been going on? Like, oh my God. And then it was just like, you know, having to get past all of that because I'm fine until someone asks me if I'm okay. You know, so then every day I'd come into work and they'd be like, and then I was like, I shouldn't have even told anyone because they'd be like, are you okay? I'm like, this is my safe space. Like, stop bringing it here, you know? And like, so I had to tell them, I was like, listen, I don't want to talk about this every day. Like, I have to move forward from here. And, like, I can't hold on to the past. When you're holding on to the past is when you can't get to the next level. And you want to get to the next level so that you can grow and learn from this. Like, now I look back and I'm just like, I feel like that was probably, like, way smoother than most people would have handled things. I mean, I didn't even tell my parents because I was living in Ohio. My parents were living in Georgia. My daughter knew. She was in Virginia, but I did not tell my parents. Like, I'd already sold the house, moved out on my own. They called and they're like, we think we're going to come visit. Oh, well, I don't know where y'all are going to stay because now I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. And they're like, wait, what? But my parents know me and they know, and like, I don't bash people. It was just kind of like, it didn't work out. Okay, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. So then they like knew. They were just like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, I'm sure in their brain, they're just like, she's like the strangest individual because she doesn't like, I'm not talking to everybody about my problems. You know, like if I have a problem, I know it and I feel like I know how to handle it. If I don't, that's when I would like seek help. Yeah. You know, but it's got to be pretty bad because I'm not a help seeker. So.
And, you know, you said, like, you have to let go of the past. I think that's a big part of it is, like, grieving the life that we thought we were going to live, right? Like, again, whether it's, like, job, if it's a marriage, if it's whatever the thing is, like, we have to grieve, like, oh, this is what I thought my life was going to be like. This is what direction we were moving in for the past however many years or months. All of a sudden, we're going in this direction. I'm still grieving what this was and what I worked for over here. And so, you know, that grieving process, you know, we know grief, like, we can be angry, we can be depressed, we can be, like, in denial, or, you know, trying to, like, figure out how to keep it, you know, how to hold on to it, like that kind of bargaining stage.
Yeah.
But we have to get into, like, the acceptance stage and the like embracing the new and letting go of the past.
Right. I definitely think that there was a moment where, like, anytime I would talk about it, like, I would just, you know, break down in tears. If somebody started talking to me about it, I would break down in tears. And I think you realize that you're over it when you can talk about it without being emotional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm done. Like, I feel like I'm done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I can talk about this. Yeah, this happened and that happened. And I'm like, yeah, it happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I can't go back. Like, and it's in the past. And all I can say is that I learned X, Y, and Z. And to move forward. And some people are like, Tanya, you just moved forward so quickly. And you just, you know, moved to another state. And sometimes I think that me moving to another state was part of me moving on.
100%.
Because I was like, I don't want to be here and run into him, and if he gets a girlfriend, and, like, I don't want to see that. So I was like, I have the option. I can leave. So I was like, I'm going. And I think the same thing was going on with him too. Like, he kept trying to, like, come back around, and I was like, I have to stand my ground, and, like, you did this to me, and I'm not going to let you do it to me again. You know? So I think I really, moving out of the state, you know, 700 miles away, it really, like, pushed me to go to the next level. And that helped me so much. Even though I was by myself, I didn't even have Parker.
Yeah.
I was by myself. I had no friends. I didn't know anyone here. So it was very, I don't know, it was refreshing. It was like doing things alone, like, by yourself.
Oh, it's empowering.
It's very empowering.
Every time I've moved, like, wait, let me think. I moved to Savannah completely by myself, didn't know a soul. I moved to Asheville with a partner, so I wasn't totally alone there, but I didn't know anybody else besides him and his family.
Right.
And then I moved here, and my dad is here, so I was alone, but, like, I knew two people.
Right. And, like, it's just, you know, I feel like it can be overwhelmed, but if you're able to, like, push yourself to that, to move somewhere that you don't even know anyone, like, I felt like I was like, I'm such a badass right now.
Yeah, it's empowering,
like,
and
even
liberating.
though I was like, I'm by myself, I don't have any friends, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm a little likable, like, I can, you know, make friends, it'll be fine. And everything turned out so good, like, beyond what I even thought. So I'm happy that I made this move. I think that it's time for me to, like, move, you know, somewhere else. But, I mean, it's okay. Like, I can always come back. Like, I have tons of friends here and, like, visit. And then, like, you guys, I'll try to move somewhere that you guys want to come visit. So, I'll try not to move in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's definitely not going to be Ohio. So, there's that. I have decided. My daughter's really trying, but I'm like, I can't do this.
It's too cold up there.
It's too cold. Like, I want to move closer to her. Yeah. Because 12 hours is a long drive. Like, if I can make it, like, 8 hours, that would be ideal. But I can't do the cold anymore. I mean, I couldn't even function while I was there. So,
I've had a lot of transitions, like, job-wise. I would say those have been extremely impactful on my life. I was actually the director of social services for a psychiatric hospital.
Oh, wow.
I was, like, the youngest of the senior management group, and, you know, and I felt like I was so excited to get the job, right? And I felt like, I'm a badass, you know, like, such a big girl job. And I did it for a year. I mean, I had been at the facility, like, working my way up for, like, 3 or 4 years, but, like, I did that particular role for a year, and I was miserable. Right. You know, it was cool in the beginning because I was excited, and I was learning the ropes, and I was like, yeah, I got this, I can do this. And I did do a kick-ass job. Like, I know that I did, but ethically it wasn't jiving with me. It wasn't for you, And, you know, and I'm big on ethics. Like, we talked about how I left that other therapy job in the never have I ever.
Oh, yeah.
episode, how I just left because they wanted me to do something that didn't align with my own ethics. Like, I'm not going to put up with things like that at a job and, like, compromise my own values. And so I did. I left this, you know, what I thought was an amazing job. And I took, like, a $20,000 pay cut.
Yeah.
And went back to waitressing.
Yeah.
And then my life, you know, just kept going, and I ended up, I don't even know. I don't remember what happened next, but, you know, anyway, I got back on my feet, and even though I had taken a big pay cut, I was more at peace.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it was hard because you're like, okay, well, I worked so hard to get into this, like, you know, leadership position and to use all those skills, and I felt really good about myself when I got that role. But then, is that really where I wanted to go? It's where I thought I wanted to go, but it turned out it wasn't. And so, you know, when I pivoted, it's like, oh, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think that, like, happens a lot. Like, that happened to me too. But, like, the reason for me leaving, like, is because I met someone and they lived in Ohio and I moved to Ohio with them. Didn't know anybody there. Like, it's the same kind of, but I took like a $15,000 cut in pay when I moved there. I mean, luckily, like, he was working or whatever, and like I had the, you know, money, but it was still like an adjustment for me because I was used to like being in charge of everyone and like handling everything, and I was like the liaison of the company to go to, okay, now I have to learn this. It was still like a management role, but like where we lived, like you weren't going to make that money, the money that you made in Atlanta, in Toledo, Ohio. Yeah. So it was just like, what I remember going to like the first bank and telling them, giving them my experience, and they're like, oh, we're just going to pay you like, I can't even remember, but it was like a ridiculously low amount. Like, I want to say like $14, $15 an hour. And I was just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And so then I was like, you know what? Let me find a job that's easy, less stressful. And, you know, I ended up making more money than that there, you know? So it was just like, but yeah, like, I understand like the ethics thing and stuff too, because I know that when I worked in banking, like there were things that they wanted me to do and I would tell them no. Yeah. I'd be like, no, but that's like the Libra rising in us. Yeah. You know, like we're like just, we're like fair. And like I would fight for my people. I would like, and they were just like, I think that they respected me for that. But at the same time, I annoyed them because I was like, no, you're not going to use these people. The people that get paid the least amount of money in this company, you're not going to use them. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't like that. Yeah. So.
That's how I was too in that, in that one job I was talking about. Like, I was always fighting between, like, my therapist, who, you know, I was their supervisor, and I was, like, seeing all the great work they were doing with our patients, and then the management and, like, the money side of things, and, like, no, this patient has to go home. They have to be discharged from this hospital because their insurance isn't going to pay for another day. Meanwhile, my therapist is saying, yeah, but they just expressed suicidal ideation in group yesterday. Yeah. And I was like the middleman between that. Obviously, I'm going with these people, right? Because I'm in my role for the patients, like for mental health, for safety and security.
It was essentially your job. But like bullies, like I get it. I was in the middle. Yeah. Like I was right in between, like, you know, the president and then these people that were below me. And I'm like, no, like we're not putting that extra on them. I mean, you know what I mean? And like yours is like that's so serious.
And that's my license on the line, P.S. Yeah. Like, you know, obviously I'm worried about this person's life and livelihood. Right. But like also that's my professional license that I worked my ass off to get. And like I'm not going to jeopardize that because this person over here who, you know, went to school for finance is trying to tell the clinical team what to do with mental health stuff. Right. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it wasn't, and I get it. It's a business. Like they're all businesses. Right. They have to make money to stay open and support people. I get it, but it just wasn't for me. Right. And that was a big transition for me and a big like mindset shift in my life. I think, you know, just like switching my perception of like, what does it mean to actually be successful? Yeah. And like right now, I feel very successful. I love what I do. I love my practice. I love supporting my clients and our work together. Yeah. I'm not making the most money I've ever made in my life. Right. And I'm cool with that. You know, like I'm living comfortably, but like, do I want to make more money?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we always want to make more money, but ultimately, like, I think that like we're success driven, and then also like our ethics like really come into play. Like when I'm working, like if I like the company I work for is super like they are very like down to earth, and like if you have family issues, like take off. Like when I got my health scare, he was like, if you run out of PTO, we're gonna pay you. Like, do not worry. You know, so like then I was like, well, now I have to work extra hard for this company because they're so ethical and like they follow my value. Yes, compassion and like they care about their people. You know, like he called me and he was like, do not worry if you don't have enough, because I had just started, like I was not even 6 months in, and they're like, you're gonna have surgery and you're gonna be down for like 6 weeks at least. That's at the very least. And I was like, I don't have 6 weeks of PTO. And so I talked to the HR manager and she's like, don't worry about this. I swear, like this company is not like this. And then the owner called me and he goes, do not worry about that. Nice. He's like, you absolutely will be getting paid if you run out of PTO. Luckily, I didn't even have to have the surgery. So, you know, all was good. But it showed me who this company was and made me like, you know what, Tanya, like stick with this company because they actually care about you. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
you know,
not just about the bottom dollar.
Exactly. And it's like, and it's been hard. This is like a hard job and like, it's still hard. Like I'm like a year in and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is like every day I'm just like, oh, like I don't know if I can make it through this. Like, but I am, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, it's just the type of job that it is, but the people that I work for are great.
And that's huge.
And that is huge to me. It's like people you work with, their ethics, who you work for, you know, like just the opportunities that are available to me. Like, I don't have to stay in the position that I'm in. I have other opportunities. So it's like getting the experience with this and everything, like all of it is going to benefit me in some way. You know,
you're growing.
So yeah, I'm growing as a person. I've learned so much. So, and I think that's what it's all about. Like we're going to transition and we're going to have tough times, but ultimately we're going to make it through. You know, you think like I would always like put myself in someone else's shoes and be like, well, this person did this, like, if they can get past that, I can get past this.
I can do this.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I was younger, like, little things would throw me off. And, like, now I'm just like, please. I can move my whole ass self to another state by myself. You know, drive down there, call somebody to come pick up my stuff, and take it somewhere else.
Figure it out.
You know, like, you just figure it out.
Everything is figure outable.
Everything is figure outable.
Yep.
That's like the accountability buddy word. It's figure outable.
When we talk about life transitions, there's like the ones that are like on a personal level, right? Like your divorces or our moving, job changes and whatnot. But then there's also like the more like societal, like global ones, like COVID. Right? Like a lot of people's lives changed drastically with COVID. You know, people stopped going into the office and started working from home. For me personally, that was amazing and I loved it. But for some people, that was really difficult. You know, some people like missed the social aspect of going into an office and going to work. And, you know, our poor kids, like talk about transitions during COVID, you know, the kids who were learning online.
So glad that I did not have a child living with me. I would have lost my mind.
I know. You know, and so like, you know, big societal changes like that, transitions can be really challenging.
I think that when COVID happened, I was a very active, like out and about, always with my friends, always going out after work, always. Now, I think because of COVID, I learned to be with myself. I think that COVID taught me to love myself more.
Yeah,
I really do, because like I realized that like I didn't need to like adjust to anybody. It was like me. I didn't have a dog or anything. I was by myself. Me and my friends would do like Wine Wednesday, and we do a Zoom call. And we'd all get on and we'd have our wine. So it was really fun, and I think that also pushed me to like, Tanya, you can move to another state, because the way that it happened, I got divorced in 2019, 2020 COVID happened. My daughter already moved out in 2019. 2020 COVID happened. I moved at the end of 2020 because I was like, I can be by myself.
Yeah.
I like being by myself.
Yeah.
So I think that really changed who I was, because any other time I would have just been like, oh, Tanya, do you want to do this? Yeah. Do you want to do this? Yeah. And I was like overstimulated at all times.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like realizing that I can just be like, no,
Yeah.
I don't want to. And I like, you don't have to give like any reasoning. You just be like, I don't want to. Like, you know, like, this is your life. This is your journey. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's a good example. Like, I think a lot of people's perspectives shifted with COVID. Like you said, you learned to love yourself more. And, you know, I think a lot of people like learned to kind of slow down and like not have to go out and about all the time, or to like enjoy. I don't want to say, like, it sounds cheesy to say, like, enjoy the small things in life. Like,
yeah, but it's true.
But yeah, like,
yeah,
you know, enjoy the fact that you can just like go sit on your porch and like drink your coffee in the morning, and you know, just like the little things that I think before COVID everybody was so go go go. Everything was fast paced that we didn't kind of stop to appreciate the small stuff.
I like would go, because there's a huge park system in Ohio, so I would take my bicycle and I'd put a book back on, and I'd ride down to the Kroger and get my groceries, like, and I'd only get enough to fit in my book bag. So it would make me keep having to go out and like go on my bike rides or stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like once a week I would like go get my groceries on my bike, and then like I'd go to the grocery store in my car one day. But I would like go ride my bike all over the place, all over town. And so it just made me like get out into nature, because of the time of the year it was like really nice. I was not working and I didn't work remote. So I was furloughed. So I think mid-March to the end of June, I did not work. And that is the longest stretch since I was 15 years old that I had not worked. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do with myself. But I feel like during those months, I really found myself. Because in the beginning, we were just like talking on the phone and stuff like that. Nobody was like going anywhere.
Yeah.
You weren't going to see anybody. You weren't like, everybody was like scared to even like come and visit. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just, a lot was just sitting around.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, you watch The Tiger King and like, you know, it was just all this bullshit. And we were like, I was like, did you see this show? You know, like sometimes my friend would FaceTime me and we just like watch TV together. You know, it was just stuff like that. But it was knowing that like physically I was okay with like being by myself, you know, and I think that helped me. And it's helped me like in relationships. Because now I feel like I don't have to have anybody. Like, I am excited to, like, you know, date and, you know, find someone. But at the same time, I can say no.
Yeah.
Be like, no, you don't fit. Like, you need to help make this better.
There's not that much, like, sense of urgency to, like, find somebody.
No. It's very just like, I'm okay. Like, it's me, Barker, we're good.
Yeah.
So... But I mean, if I do and they're bonus, like, that's great. But don't come here trying to be a situation.
Adding drama.
No drama. Thank you. Because we don't have to do that.
So, yeah, I think, like, for both of us, I'm not going to speak for you, but I think we both feel like, you know, if you're unhappy in your situation, whether it's where you live or who you live with or, you know, where you work or whatever the situation is, like, you know, obviously this doesn't count for like medical stuff and things we can't control. But if it is things you can control and you're unhappy, make a change.
Make a change.
Like,
make choices.
Look for other jobs.
Yes.
You know, like,
you can do it.
Break up with the partner that's making you unhappy. Like, divorce the person. You know, and I know that like there's like spiritual and religious feelings about divorce and all of that, and I respect that. But also, like, if you are a person who, you know, is religious and believes in God and you have a relationship with God, do you really think that your God wants you to be miserable?
Agreed.
Is that what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and I think, some people are here for lessons. Some people are here forever. You know, like, I definitely have a lot of friends that I've talked to for a very long time. But I definitely feel like I've learned something from all my relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, with any person, any individual, I have learned something from you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's just like sometimes they're just here for this time to get you through something else. Maybe like you don't see this until after it's already happened. When you're in the middle of like a breakup or something like that, you're not like seeing all of this. And then once it happens and years later, you're just like, oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like this happened so that I can be right here, right now.
Right.
You know, because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be.
Correct.
Like if I think back to if I wouldn't have moved here, I would probably still be in Ohio. And I have a feeling that, you know, my situation there would be much different.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that I would be single. But to me, I feel like I made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like, I mean, and there were so many signs that came to me at the time when like the guys were packing up my stuff to go. There was like, I got this like random message and it was, hey, you're doing the right thing, basically. You know, I mean, everything lined up and it was like, yeah, I'm like doing that. Also, I asked my spirit guides, like, should I go to Ohio?
Hey, dead people, should I do this?
People, and they confirmed. So go to South Carolina, and I did, and it's been great. So
don't be afraid of change.
Don't be scared.
You know, even if it's scary in the short term, it's going to be beneficial in the long term.
Agreed.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
embrace it.
This is all good. I like really enjoyed talking about this because, like I said, I love change. So, but next week we're going to be talking about love languages. So that's going to be exciting, and there are some new ones, so we're going to chat about that.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for watching us this week. Bye.